Why? Yeah, you can't do the Instagram. You can only do the Facebook. All right, Camachito, I went live so because I want to see if it's because of the fact that if he can't see it. Don't worry about it. People start joining in and he'll join and you could join. I just dropped a new link. See if this works. What's up, guys? Waiting to see if we can put this together with Subriel Matias. Right now, bear with me. I decided to go live against my compadre's best wishes because we're trying to see if 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 we can get it to connect. So let's see what happens here. You getting it done, Camacho? All right. At least we'll have people tuned in already. All right. Mm. It's because when well, unfortunately, our window of opportunity with Subriel seems to be pushed back into tomorrow till 8. He was going to try to hook up with us at 6 o'clock after his training, but we tried to go on Facebook. Then they try to do it on Instagram. Then they wanted to do it. I finally said let's do it on my platform, but apparently like we couldn't get it all together. So we're gonna try to like shoot for tomorrow at 8, and I'll get the questions that we all have for Subriel Matias. But since you guys joined in and this was supposed to be a video, so I'm gonna talk about a couple things with Subriel Matias, and some of the things that we're gonna cover are gonna be this fight that he's gonna be coming up against right now, and his future plans for Subriel Matias. Now, I'm here to tell you that Subriel Matias right now is he's in a tough position right now as far as where he stands as a fighter in the rankings and where does he go from here. See, Subriel's not the type of man to allow a loss to defy him. He's like, okay, I lost, right? But we know that a loss is not going to either make or break you unless you allow it to break you. Subriel is choosing the warrior's path. He lost, he's dusting it off, and he's choosing to go forward. The problem with this is getting the men to get in the ring with him. See, now that Subriel lost his belt, he kind of lost that, you know, um, that lock on the fact that in order to become a champion, you would have to go through him. Now, without a belt, fighters are able to try to veer around him. He's high risk, low reward. He doesn't have a belt. And Subriel is still the boogeyman of 140-pound weight division. He's one of the most dangerous fighters in the 140, right? So we wanted to talk about Subriel and and who does he would like to fight. But I already know the answer to that question. And the answer to that question is Subriel knows more about his next opponent, right? Like I do. Meaning he doesn't know who the next guys are really typically going to be. He's in negotiation right now with someone. So when me and Camachito go on, we're going to drop that name and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give him that. So we're going to wait for tomorrow at 8. I'm going to see if Subriel will come out and already say it. But yeah, he's in a deep negotiations with other fighters, but he has to get past this fight right here. Now, one of the names that all of us obviously have in mind is a rematch with Liam Paro. We're gonna ask Subriel how he feels about that, and how does he think that he can put himself back in position. See, the one thing good about Subriel's situation is he fights for the IBF. And the IBF caters to both sides of the street, meaning that already I looked up the ranking earlier today, and Subriel's ranked number 5. He had fell down to number 6, and quickly he's already number 5. So now he's coming into this fight right here. He can move up. Now, in the IBF ranking right now, the number one contender, the champion is Liam Paro. The number one contender is Richard Hitchinson, in which they're going to do battle in San Juan, Puerto Rico, right? Okay, so that'll get the number one contender and the champion to fight, right? So winner out of that, right? Jack Catterall is the number 3. The number 2 spot is vacant. There's no number 2 rank opponent for the IBF. So technically, Subriel is only down 4 rankings. He just moved up one just right now. Absolutely, right? So now Andrew Barboza Jr., he's number 4, and he's just above Subriel Matias. You know, there has been 2 names, right, that in a way or could be potential fights for Subriel, which is Elvis Rodriguez, right? And uh Regis Progress. Those are the 2 names that would be good potential fights. Both men got Regis Progress is a former world champion, 2-time former world champion. You know, Elvis has been like acting like he wants to fight Subriel. And Subriel's gonna answer a lot of these guys, but let's see if we can get these guys in the ring with him. See, the one thing about boxing is this, and you're watching it right now with Subriel Matias. The minute he lost that belt, the big name guys, they're gonna opt out to fight him. Why? Because you know what that's a big risk. You know, they can say all they want about Subriel Matias, right? But I know that you can have a bad night in the office, meaning you only have one shot to win that fight. You can't win a world title in the best of 7, where you have to win 4 games to win the world championship. You see, this is kind of like football. You got one night. And Subriel didn't perform well on that one night. And I'm not willing to hold him on one performance when I know the fighter that he is. Subriel looks like he came back to Puerto Rico. He's got different coaching. You know, he's talked about this many a times, but we would like to hear him say it out of his own mouth. What happened between him and Panda? You know, he's addressed this many times, and I'm sure that a lot of these questions are boxing questions he's already answered. And that's why I'm interested and curious to have him come on my show, because I have a couple questions of my own. I would love to ask him, you know. And although the interview was told to us to be short and sweet, he only had like a window of 20 minutes today. So between trying to put this all together, I saw this kind of like, going to be pushed back, but these are the small things in show business, the hurdles that we must overcome. I don't take it personal or upset, just rebound and put it back together. That's it. I'm neither mad, angry, or indifferent that we didn't get the interview today. There's another day. Don't hold on to things. And that's how Subriel fights. He doesn't hold on to his last fight. Es pa'lante, papi. And I expect Subriel Matias to come on, and, on in the 2025 year, I expect big things out of him. I expect some big fights. But once again, it's getting these guys in the ring with Subriel that seems to be the problem. He's dangerous. He's very, very dangerous. And who would you like Subriel to go up? Okay, meaning the top 5 across the board for 140. Let's talk about it. The top 5. Okay, so we know we have for the WBO. The number one contender is Barboza, right? So Richard Hitchison is the number one for the IBF, right? Sandor Martin is the number one for the WBC, and the Japanese fighter Andy is the number one for the WBA, right? Okay. So in a good world, right? Like if we were to look up, Teofimo Lopez has the championship at 140, right? Arnold Barboza is the number one. Jack Catterall is the number two. Richard Hitchison is the number three. Jose Carlos Ramirez is the number four. Sandor Martin is number five. Those are the top five guys in the WBO, right? In the IBF, you got Richard Hitchison. The number two spot is vacant. Jack Catterall, Arnold Barboza, and then Subriel Matias, right? Okay. So for the WBC, you have Sandor Martin, Jack Catterall, Dalton Smith, Gary Antoine Russell, and Richard Hitchison are the top five, right? So for the WBA, you got Andy, which is the Japan kid, right? And then you got Kenneth Sims Jr. is the number two. Isa Pepo Cruz is the number three, right? And Jack Catterall. And then you got the Puerto Rican fighter, Bravo. So those are the top five in each going across the board. Like, who can Subriel Matias fight and get him into the ring? And when you call these guys, you know what they say? No, I'm pursuing another fight. My guy has another fight. Oh, we're on vacation. We're this, we're that. And it's hard for Subriel to secure these fights with these guys when now they can try to avoid him, and try to age him out of boxing. I think Subriel Matias got a lot of boxing in him. But the one thing, like I said, is what we need to pay attention to is the IBF ranking. No matter what, the IBF ranking will allow you to go forward. And within their ranking structure, they will order fights. Yes, they will. You're not a manager, but they'll order it. They'll order the fight. And you and that person has to go into negotiation. If not, your fight goes into a purse bid. Somebody buys the fight, a network, and then we go from there. See? So the IBF is a good belt and a good organization to go after, especially when you was already a former world champion, that they've already done business with you. They already know who you are, etc., etc. He can be at number 5 right now with this next fight. Don't be surprised if he catapults in the top 3. And with Liam Paro maybe knocking off Richard Hitchison, because see, Subriel wants Liam Paro to win that fight. He's already been on multiple platforms where he expressed that he wants Liam Paro to win. He really doesn't care who wins, but he understands in order to right the wrong, he would like a shot at the guy that beat him. It's not gonna feel the same if Richard Hitchison wins, right? And then Richard Hitchison gives Subriel a chance, and then Subriel beats Richard Hitchison and becomes the champion again. It's gonna be good for him that he became the champion, but he never got to right the wrong against Liam Paro. See? So, it would be sweeter if he can kill two birds with one stone once again. If he can fight Liam Paro and become world champion and take it from the man that beat him. That's in a good world. That's where Subriel Matias would like to be. The fact that, Liam Paro is fighting in San Juan, Puerto Rico against Richard Hitchison and Matias is not on that card, I found strange. And as far as Subriel Matias, and his affiliation with Ed Hearn, I'm gonna allow him to talk on that. We'll have that to talk about on the show. I believe that Subriel Matias has a lot left in the gas tank. He just gotta get these fights in the ring. He has to get these fighters in the ring. But 100%, if he can get his hands on one of those belts, then that would be that'd be a start to trying, to pursue the idea of him unifying. You know, I, I don't think Subriel Matias is just gonna get Teofimo Lopez in the ring now. The Devin Haney's of the 140 in the ring right now. I don't see it. I don't see it. And then I don't see some of the top guys wanting to give up, like, or risk their ranking or where they're at, because they're like real close to getting a world title, and they're gonna see Subriel's name come across the table. They're gonna be like, hell no, hell no. That's a lot. Unless guys are willing to say, nah, man, I'm not scared of this dude. Liam Paro beat the shit out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll sign up. Let him sleep on Subriel, and that's all we need. Somebody to give Subriel sign up with a big name, one of the top guys. That way it can make his rise even that much more impressive. You know, I think that Subriel Matias, like I said, uh, right now, it may seem like his back's against the wall, but us as Puerto Rican fighters and his island, we support him. We're still behind him. We understand that it sucked in the moment watching him lose, but it's always horrible, watching your guy lose. But if you're a real fan and a real supporter of that fighter, you got to be there with the good and the bad. When your basketball team or football team loses the next year, you're just back on the hunt with your team and support. And that's a real fan of that particular fighter. Yeah, it hurt in the moment. Okay. Now we're past that. We're past that. What do you do now? Where does Subriel go now? And can he get his boxing promoters and his handlers to secure him the big fights? You know, as of right now, I think Subriel's only crack at a world title is to stay in pursuit with the IBF. I'm not too sure. Seeing that the fact that Jose Valenzuela, he's tied up with a rematch call with Isa Pitbull Cruz. Did anybody check if he activated that yet? Yeah, that was a good question, right? Remember he had a deadline. So Isa Pip, I wonder if that deadline's passed yet. I forgot what it was. I'm gonna look that up right after this. He has a deadline where that he had to activate the rematch clause versus Jose Valenzuela. Oh, and then at that point, it frees up Jose to fight whoever he wants. Remember when they started yelling around that Tank, and that was another fighter just becoming world champion, want to raise his stock, attach his name to a real one with Tank. Oh, Tank, send me the contract. I'll fight you at 140. Oh, what'd you say, 135? Oh, okay. Well, then I guess we'll fight at 135. Meanwhile, the entire time, Jose Valenzuela knew he had a rematch clause put in place with Isa Pitbull Cruz. He knew he couldn't do anything with Tank. Meanwhile, but he had no problem texting back and forth, social media. He just won a belt. You want to rise your stock? Attach it to a real one. How many clicks and views and more fans did he get just because in the rumor of him wanting to fight Tank? What did that do for the new champion? Yeah. But people say, oh no, he ain't cloud man, listen. So I know that Jose's tied up. Teal's not gonna fight him. We know that for a fact, right? Devin is a champion in recess. He doesn't even own his belt. I don't think you're going to get Bill Haney to agree to have him fight Subriel Matias in his next fight if my man didn't even fight Liam Paro. He let the Liam Paro fight slip right out of his hand because of distraction with Ryan Garcia in this lawsuit. So Devin Haney's got one foot in boxing and one foot in the courtroom. He's tied up, right? Who do you got left? You got Catterall, mm, and Josh Taylor. He's former undisputed, but we all admit that Josh Taylor's been on a decline. His best days are behind him. Uh, I mean, he can go in there and whoop on Josh Taylor for a big name. It would be a good name on your resume. I wouldn't say no. I'd rather him fight Josh Taylor than the guy he's fighting right now. I'll tell you that much. Hell yeah. Um, Regis Progress, they got a little history. They got a little history. They got a little back and forth. That's two fighters that come forward that are going to throw bombs. They're going to be in each other's face. They're not going to be hard to find in the ring. That would be an explosive fight, I think. Subriel Matias versus uh, Progress. Yeah, I like that fight. I actually. So Richard Hitchison, you know, the struggle he had in his last fight to jump this high up in competition to accept the fight against Liam Paro, I think Liam Paro is he should be able to beat the brakes off of Richard Hitchison. I think they're underestimating Liam Paro. I think they think he got lucky and beat Subriel, and Subriel had a bad night. I think they think that Liam Paro was going to quit in the 7th round. I think they think that he can be broken. Here, there's just one problem with, I think, scenarios. You're not in the equation. You're about to become in the equation. You're trying to think your way into it, but you were never part of what you're breaking down. So the way he reacted to Subriel Matias' punches is not how he's going to react to your punches, Richard Hitchison. The fight's not going to go any way. No. So he's not going to be in those situations where you're thinking, oh, I can break him. First, you're going to have to get him there. You're going to have to put him in that situation like Subriel did. He was just able to, and his corner willed him back into the fight, and he went out there and he was reacting on instant, and he took control of the fight back over, and he kind of got a second win, and then he was like, yeah, I can do this, and and he was willing himself. He was in that situation. So if Richard Hitchison says, oh, look, he was right there, my man, you're thinking too fast. You got to get him there first. How are you going to get him there? And that's where you see some of these people want to break down your weaknesses and oh, look at him. Look, hey, he got hit right here. He got this. But what you're not adding is how do you get there? So look, man, Richard Hitchison, I personally think he wasn't ready for this fight. Maybe one or two more fights, perhaps, for a fighter such as Liam Paro. I think Liam Paro's a lot smarter, a lot craftier than and a lot slicker, and he punches a lot deceptively hard than a lot of these fighters think. I don't think he's just another George Kambosos. I don't think he's another George Kambosos that beat Teofimo Lopez. If I had to compare it, no, it wasn't like that. I think that Liam Paro, he pulled the upset. He pulled the upset. That's it. There's nothing else to say to it. And I think that Liam Paro is a better fighter than George Kambosos too. He's much smarter. So I think he beats Richard Hitchison in Puerto Rico. Yeah. And I'm not sure if they're trying to make Liam Paro Puerto Rico's son or some shit. Yo, if Liam Paro comes out with some Puerto Rican shorts and a flag, yo, I wouldn't hate him for it. You know how like Floyd does it with the Mexicans, and a lot of people do it because there's going to be Mexican crowd, right? And you see, whether you realize it or not, right? It's what you see. It's what you see, right? When Floyd would win, yeah, he was a brother, right? But when they were raising the hand of the winner, what color trunks did he have on? What was that flag? That's a Mexican flag. So the guy that's wearing Mexican flag, his hand is in the air. Are we Mexican? Yeah. Damn it, we won. Yay! Right? Boom. I mean, Liam Paul could flip it. He could feed off the fans and put. I think it would be smart. You know, come out there and you know, there's been look. Puerto Rico supports Jake Paul for a lot of things he does, and maybe if Liam Paro wants to get the support of the Puerto Rican people, you are fighting in Puerto Rico, representing their flag. You know, it wouldn't be a bad move. I've seen many fighters show respect to the nation that they're in. I've seen Mexican fighters, go out to Japan and wear a Japan patch on their shorts. I've seen that many of times. I haven't seen them like get in the whole full attire like Floyd did, and a lot of great fighters have wore Mexican shorts. And there's hundreds of fighters that have done that throughout the course of history. Yeah, Mexican fan base is a huge fan base in boxing. We all know that. And another good fight on one of those cards in Japan was the African fighter Kash, Kafu. He won a title and brought it back to Africa when Africa just lost their only world champion that was representing Africa. So, congratulations to Africa. They got a champion and the belt's going back home over there. You know, um, it's always good to represent your country. Japan lost a few titles and they won a few titles. You know, so and that's in competitive in competition. So Subriel Matias represents the island of Puerto Rico, right? And when he wins, he brings it back for United States and Puerto Rico. So he's on the hunt. I expect a lot from Subriel, but where is he going to get these fights from? He's going to have to corner some of these guys in. Sometimes he's going to have to do it the hard way. Sometimes, you know, yeah, there might be a guy that says, you know what, Subriel, I'll fight you. There's always that guy, but sometimes there's not. You never know. You never know if Teofimo Lopez turns around tomorrow and says, you know what, Subriel, I couldn't get the Terrence Crawford fight. I couldn't get, you know what? I had said some shit and I tend to back it up. Subriel, what you want to do? And if Tio was to do some shit like that, bro, that would be a crazy fight, wouldn't it? Right? We oh what? Bro, let's get it. That would be a decision. It would take one man to make Tio. And he can give us a huge fight for boxing. And it could be a money fight and everything for Tio. All he has to do is stop fighting these who's. Who's that guy? Who? Who's that guy? That's all Tio got to do. Just stop that. Just stop. You don't have to chase Terrence for a big money fight, Tio. No. You put Subriel Matias in the Puerto Rican parade in New York City and Tio. And why, baby? Y'all fight in New York, y'all sell out the Barclay or Madison Square Garden. I think you'll sell out Madison Square Garden, Tio. You and Subriel. Stop playing with me, Tio. You know where the fight is. All you got to do, because I guarantee you don't got to question Subriel's side. I'm not questioning Subriel's side at all, not even 1%. If Tio was to call Subriel today and say, yo, you fight me in Madison hell yeah, send it. I already know Subriel's reaction, answer to that. He would take the fight. So it's basically up to Tio's end. So and that goes to show how some of these fighters could, Tio, talk to your manager, your dad, who is it? Who is it nowadays? And I heard you left Top Rank. right? I heard you're boxing for, what is it, Box Line or something like that. I forget the name of the place, right? So, it, bro, Tio, you want that money fight? Fight Subriel, bro. Fight Subriel. That's all these some of these guys gotta do. Even look at Tio even got another fight. He got a wounded duck and Devin Haney sitting right there. Yo, he's a mentally checked out. Go over there and make him an offer. Get Devin Haney's ass in the ring and beat his ass. There's money right there too. You think Tio does any of these things? You think Tio, Tio's responsible for some of these fights, the best not fighting the best. And what's Tio always saying? I want to fight the best. I want to fight the best, fighting the best. And who's his next fighter? Who? You know, he fought Sandor Martin. I like, okay, the Jack Catterall fight, Josh Taylor fight is probably one of Tio's greatest, you know, achievements and names, biggest names, because you got to give it to Jack Catterall. Once upon a time, he was him, but he was getting up there in age, and we don't all age the same. Just because he's a certain 34, 33-year-old doesn't mean another 33-year-old would look like that. Okay. Unfortunately, Josh Taylor got slow like right overnight. It happens like that to the best of us. No one knows when you're gonna lose a step, lose a little bit of your twitch muscle movement, and you're fighting with yourself as a fighter inside. No, I feel good. Why isn't it just doing it? Why am I not responding? And as a man, that's also a man lesson that you're also going through as an athlete. you know um where are your limitations, and do you accept these limitations? Is there a way back to get back to prime shape? Usually the athletes always looking to try to get that one big fight back, to get into that prime shape again. And sometimes, they some athletes concede. Oh, I'm getting old. I'm getting old. you know there's been athletes that thought they were old at 28, and then all of a sudden you see them back in the ring at 33, and I've never felt better. I've never felt better. That you have to go sometimes on a journey as an athlete. Everybody doesn't know how long it takes for each individual is unique in themselves, so each athlete's journey is different. So, that's something I can't say that everyone should. Yeah, no, I can't. I couldn't do that. But these are some of the things that these athletes have to overcome, and Devin Haney is definitely a wounded dog for me, man. And why hasn't Tio, you know, fought any of these fights as well? So, Subriel got a lot. He's got a lot of uh option, and he has a lot of fighting to do in front of him. And the only way back into that title run is he has to secure one of these world championships. Let's see if one of these guys, all these guys had something to say about him right after the loss. Oh, they had so much to say about Subriel, but where are they? And why can't we sign up? Where's Gary Antoine Russell? Gary Antoine Russell said he would beat Subriel Matias. I would like to see that. I would like to see that. Yeah, I would. Regis Progress said he would beat Subriel Matias. You know what? I actually would like to see that. So yeah, so you have to recognize anything to you. I listen. Tio, he's been in hot water lately for some of the things he said and some of the things he should have said and didn't say or hasn't said yet. So he's been in all kinds of headlines, but the thing is that his name has been in the headlines. Okay. And that's what mostly fighters want to do. And, they want to keep, themselves in the media. And, but, you don't want to, fly too close to the sun, so to speak, because your ass can get burnt. Like Ryan right now, he's getting kicked off video games, and they're making they're making him into the poster child of what's wrong with the world. To Ryan Garcia, like so. Every fighter has their unique situations. And there's fighters that gonna come into big fights. You got Tim Zoo, and that fight's a few days. That whole fight card is a few days away. You know, um, let's see if some of these guys make these fight cards like they were allegedly um saying. You know, not sure. I heard that Jamel Charlo was supposed to make this fight card, and now it's rumored that he's going to be in the November fight card with Tank Davis. I'm not sure about that. I'll talk more as I know more about that. I'm gonna stay away from that one because that's kind of like a messy situation right now when I really don't know the status of Jamel. I would really like to talk to him to see where's his mind at and where he's really at, rather than is this just a ploy to keep his name up until you get him in shape to really get him a fight that you want. So yeah, I think it's more of a situation than like that than actually him getting in the ring and fighting Demetrius Andre. Like, damn, that's a tough fight to come back. It's a big name, yeah. You know, um, is it the right fight to come back to after all this time off? No, no, no. You could have fought one fight, then fought him. You know, just to get a little bit, just to get the cobwebs out. He had to stay active. The cobweb fight was the Jose Benavidez fight. That was the fight where he should have like stayed in the gym and kept going. He went in there, got a quick paycheck, went out and hit the bar quick. And we haven't seen him until now. Some of these fighters like Adrian Broner felt like whenever they felt they were ready to come back to boxing, that the fans had to support them, and that turned a lot of fans off because fans are fans, but they're your fan for what you did. The reason why they're your fan is because of the things you were doing in the ring. Now that you're not in the ring anymore and you're all over social media having a meltdown, right? You expect your fans to support you and to support you doing what? Watching you get in and out of cars and go through financial trouble and watching you go down and slowly burn. We fans don't want to watch that. We weren't your fan because of that. We were your fan because of the fighter you were. And some of these fighters think that they can just leave the sport and whenever they feel like coming back. Errol Spence Jr. I don't know what, as every day as the weeks go by and the months go by, Errol Spence Jr., like, do you expect your fans to I'm not sure what these fighters think sometimes. But yeah, fight fans, listen, I wanted to go on and I had promised you guys the video with Subriel. I tried my part. I even, hit the live stream so that I can make it easier for them to join the stream. Apparently, you know, it didn't work out, but hopefully tomorrow we'll get Subriel on and we'll ask him some questions and stuff, because you know, um we just want to show and let Subriel know that we support him. We support him. We're behind him. We got mad love for him. He represents Puerto Rico well, and you know, uh, we're looking forward to see him back in the ring, and that's what we want to see as fans, is our favorite fighter back in the ring. So fight fans, listen, you guys have been amazing. I'm going to cut this video short right here, and we'll try to get you guys that Subriel fight, and we could talk about the rest of these fights that occurred throughout the weekend, the Demetrius Bivol, and all that and more. You know, so fight fans, I'm on to the next one. After this one, here at Round One Sports Talk, you guys have a good night. You guys have been amazing.